Now I know some of y'all are probably going to sit here and be like, oh, why are you making this video? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's because I'm actually going to congratulate everybody who didn't just follow blindly any content creator or anybody who told you that damaged targets out of cover was not best in slot on your exotics. That's right, even I got ridiculed by some other people and everything else. I'm going to leave that one in the past. But at the same time, they kept telling me that damaged targets out of cover wasn't going to be best on EB. They're telling me damaged out of cover wasn't going to be best on other weapons. They're telling me damaged armor wasn't going to be best on ones. And after finally working my ass off, getting exotic components for you guys just to make this proof right here, we have every bit of the proof that we need.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
So again, let's get into this right here. Let's show the proof, because some people need physical, visual proof that you were right and I was right. Now, first off, we have to talk about another bug that we found while trying to do this, courtesy of other YouTubers. Some of them, people who messaged me, Mr. Gray Fox, he sent me this one. So people are having problems with your tinkering on LMGs. When they come to this, it blacks out. And we were wondering why, because mine doesn't do this. I can come over here and tinker, as you can see, but we found out that it's because you have an LMG in your hand. So check this video out. So as you can see, this is Mr. Gray Fox. As he's trying to go across, he goes up to the LMGs, it blacks out. So he goes back, clears everything, goes back down. As you can see, he's got an LMG in his hands. So as he tries to go down to the LMGs, it does it again. You cannot tinker with it as long as it is in your hands. That is what we've come to find out. So if you're having this bug, just take the LMG out of your hands to tinker with it. So now we have the proof. Now before we get into the Eagle Bearer or anything else, we still need to talk about the capacitor. Now the reason why we need to talk about the capacitor is because you can't even optimize the health on here. Why? Because most ARs come with health. So if you happen to have any of these right here, you have to get the max roll, or you're not going to be able to optimize the damage to armor, or even if it has health damage, you couldn't even maximize that. So we have to do a comparison of these two right here. So we're only going to be short 0.5%, okay? 0.5, that's barely minuscule at all on the health damage side. So we're going to do this full and utter test right here, all weapons with the exact same build. No changes, just the weapons. So as you can see right here, it should be 9.5% health and 12% damage to armor. And we have another capacitor down here with 11% damage to armor and 10% damage to targets out of cover. So we're not going to be short anything. They both are expertise level 12. So they are literally hitting for the exact same. So this is going to be an equal comparison, just a tiny fraction of 0.5 for the health damage. So we can actually just round that up if it's actually close to the health when we start shooting the health. So the first one we have is health damage, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be using this build, which is going to be crit chance, critical hit damage all over the place, perfect glass cannon, vigilance on the backpack, as you can see, crit chance, critical hit damage everywhere, damage to armor and damage targets out of cover. So let's see what we hit for on the armor, right? We want to see what we crit for. So we're critting for 1.15, right? 1.15. So let's get this down to health, and let's see what the health is. We're about 1055. 1055. Okay, so maybe we might hit close to 106, maybe 1058. If my math is right, it should be 1058. But we're going to do this again. Now we have damage to targets out of cover, right? Look at that. We got a huge increase, about 1k more in damage. On an average, about 1k more. And then look, 1058. So basically, we would be hitting for the same on the health, but we're getting more on this. That doesn't mean that this build or this weapon got a huge boost in damage. It doesn't. Even if you were to expertise this out, we only getting on the one side, which would be the damage to the targets out of cover or damage to their armor, because it's multiplicative of that, of only 1k more in damage. So when players are sitting here saying that this is a new meta weapon, it only got a bare minimum max on the armor side. That's it. So when you're shooting against their armor, it only goes up by about 100,000 more, and that's barely anything in PvP.
Emotional, damn it!
So here we go with the best one yet, which everybody said I was wrong. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have two EBs, both of them the exact same, and one has headshot damage, one has damage targets out of cover. Can y'all guess which one's going to be better? Oh, that's right. Look at this. This one here is headshot. 939, right? I may have posted my numbers a little bit wrong, but it's 939, right? Okay, so we got 939316, right? Okay, let's go to the EB with damage to targets out of cover, and let's see what we hit. Oh my lord, look at that. 1 mil. 1 mil on a headshot. Who was right? Who was wrong? Oh, but it gets even better. We can go on this all day long. Let's go to Chameleon, right? A lot of people are like, oh, it needs a crit chance because you can't get those crits out right away. Nah, you know, like the EB, just about the same. They're all pretty much the same. So we can just take a look at these right here, right? If you were to switch these over, again, the moment you lose that headshot damage and you're not landing headshots, it gets stronger. The exact same with the Bighorn, right? Same thing. If I go Bighorn versus Bighorn, I got critical hit damage. All of these weapons, we'll just go through these really quick. Backfire had magazine size, right? It gets more damage right here. This one right here, Lady of Death versus damaged armor. The damage to targets out of cover maxes for the melee and the bullet damage. Chatterbox, critical hit damage. It gets damage to targets out of cover. It makes it even stronger. The only one that you could change right here, which was critical hit damage, would be the Bullet King, and that's if you're going to use it on clutch. But even still, if you're using it in PvP, damage to armor is still stronger. So same thing with the Scorpio. Look at this. It had critical hit damage. So we go to damage targets out of cover. That increases our damage for the bullets. Basically everything, even the Nemesis. We already showed that prior. And the Diamondback, which had headshot damage on mine, damage targets out of cover. All of these boost from having damage to targets out of cover. The only one that I think personally, just on a personal level, is the Merciless, which doesn't actually need it. Now, it does increase, don't get me wrong. It gets stronger versus this one, and they're literally identical versus the Ruthless. The only thing that we lose on this is, for some reason, when my explosive hits, and I had the crit chance on here, for some reason it was hitting higher. But as you can see, the bullets damage themselves are high, 1.2, right? So as you see, we're hitting for 1.2 right over there. And then when we cause this explosive, we're hitting about 2.3, give or take. I'll post the numbers up. So again, basically anybody who sat here and told you guys, again, that damage targets out of cover was going to be best in slot, they were wrong. They were completely and utterly wrong. Same with anybody who sat there and said that the EB wasn't going to get a little bit more damage just by having that on there. It did. Same with the Regulus. Same with the Nemesis. Basically anything that didn't have damage targets out of cover down there was going to be better. Now again, the only build, or the only weapon I should say, that actually benefits from not having like damaged armor on there is actually the Bullet King. So there we go. There's the one with the crit chance. So we'll post that number up there. So again, even with other weapons, say like Chameleon versus this one right here. I don't know why, but it's some reason it feels a little bit better with crit chance. I mean, all of these basically benefit from it, period, at the end of the day. Because even with this one here, you weren't just landing headshots like crazy. So the damage targets out of cover actually makes it to where if you do land a headshot, it just increases it even more. Because the same scenario goes with the EB. So again, all of these benefited from this. So if you called that, if you was like, hey, you're telling me this and it's wrong, pat yourself on the back for questioning the supposed anybody who told you, you know, just basically anybody who told you it wasn't going to be best, just know that they were wrong.